At Bitcoin Magazine, one of our heroes is Hal Vinny. Hal Vinny was one of the first people to respond when Satoshi Nakamoto submitted the Bitcoin white paper to the cryptography mailing list. He was the first contributor to Bitcoin development besides Satoshi. He was one of the first Bitcoin miners on the network, and he was the recipient of the first ever Bitcoin transaction, which he received from Satoshi. But Hal was a hero even before Bitcoin. Back in the 1990s, he was a major contributor to the popular encryption program PGP. As a cypherpunk, Hal also developed and ran the first ever remailer, a sort of precursor to Tor that anonymously forwarded emails to help people communicate privately. And having promoted the idea of digital cash within techno-utopian extropian circles early on, Hal Vinny had in 2004 launched a digital cash project of his own, called RPow. In the summer of 2009, just months after he'd helped Satoshi bootstrap Bitcoin, Hal Vinny was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, better known as ALS. ALS is a progressive, fatal neuromuscular disease that slowly kills the motor neurons, which carry signals from the brain to the muscles. In other words, it robs the body from its ability to walk, speak, swallow, or even breathe. ALS can strike anyone, and presently there is no known cause or cure. Hal Vinny ultimately passed away on August 28, 2014. In honor of our hero Hal, Bitcoin Magazine is now raising money for the ALS Association. To contribute to our fundraiser or to learn more about Hal, visit bitcoinmagazine.com/r-hero-hal.
Hi guys, do you hear me?
All right, guys. I think we're gonna be live. All right, we are live. What is up?
Can I kick it off, CK, my friend?
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. I want to give a big shout out to everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to another episode of Drinks in Quarantine. I'm your host, Joe Rogers, and my lovely co-host is Nick Can't Mine, hiding on this Zoom chat somewhere. But anyway, this is a special edition because it is a Pleb takeover. So we have a bunch of fun cast of characters here. So I'm going to kind of popcorn my way around the room and let everyone give a big shout out and just say what's up and who they are. You don't have to give a full tweet, maybe half a tweet worth of words. So let's toss it over to young Jaky. Say what's up.
Yo, dude, first, come on. Okay, I'm Jaky. Hi, everyone. Bitcoin Zoomer. I don't know, I mean, been stacking for 20% of my life. Nothing more to say.
That's a hardcore intro. I'd say
yeah,
20%. None of us can say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's an achievement. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Jaky's known for some hot takes. So my friend CK, why don't you say what's up?
Yeah, I've only been stacking for about 10% of my life, so not quite at 20% yet, but I'm working on it. I said I was going to be drinking Ronas, but I actually got myself a mango claw. And I've been on every Drinks in Quarantine, so happy to be back.
He had to keep his streak going. He was going to let me and Nick take it over. Josh, say what's up, man.
How are y'all doing? Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm the least interesting person here.
I don't know, man. I think you do some of the most fire, unexpected live streams of all Bitcoin Twitter.
Oh yeah, those are the days. You know, I feel like that could only happen once, that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's see. Mr. Hodl, say what's up.
What's up? I've been stacking for, I'm bad at math, 7% of my life. Let's go with that.
All right. And saved the best for last. Miss Justine and Katya. Justine, say what's up first.
Hey. I'm making a drink. That's what I'm doing currently. And glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm not going to figure out how long I've been stacking for my life because that tells you how old I am. So I'm not going to do that. But cheers. Yeah.
Thanks for coming. And Miss Katya, thank you for joining live from Europe. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
I'm sorry.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, that's great. And thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm from Europe, currently in Norway. I'm Ukrainian. Don't remember how long I've been stacking, but I think I'm with you guys since like 2017 or so.
Yeah.
And yeah, not actually having a drink, just keeping myself hydrated today.
And thank you for joining us. This is not a purity test for anyone watching, okay? Jack started us off this way and the ball just kept rolling. But anyway, so as tradition for here in Drinks in Quarantine, we do have a bit of a format. So we're going to kick it off with kind of a general question for everyone. We have a couple questions teed up that we shared with the cast. And at the very end, we're going to do the mempool where everyone kind of asks their own question for the panel here. So enjoy a cocktail. And I'm going to kick it off with the question for everyone. I think this is kind of a good one that we probably have some different spicy takes on. But the first one is, what is a Bitcoin pleb? What does it mean to you? And I think that one of the people that I think has some of the spiciest takes is our friend Hodl. And the reason I say that is because Hodl, I think he's dealing with some internal turmoil on if he's a pleb or not. So I don't know, kick it off and say, what do you think it is to be a Bitcoin pleb?
Okay, here's the thing. When the pleb movement first started, right? Like I predate the plebs. You know, there were no plebs in but by the way, also it's plebs, but we're just all going with the mispronunciation. The word is plebeian, so the abbreviation would be plebe. But anyway, we'll go with plebs.
I'm Southern.
So I predate the pleb movement, so I didn't know, you know, like, and at first it seemed, I'm going to be honest here. It seemed like you were all a bunch of jilted ex-girlfriends who were mad that the shitcoiners had, tricked you, basically, which I get. I understand the anger, but it seemed there was a little like a revenge aspect to it in the beginning of the movement. And to me, that energy was just whack as fuck, dog. I wasn't down with it in the beginning, but as it morphed and evolved, it became sort of just this idea that, you know, nobody's more important than Bitcoin. And so I think today I would proudly, you know, announce myself as a pleb. And it's also like, it's the opposite of the influencer thing, right? Like, especially in shitcoin land, it's like awful. Like, what was the shitcoin few that all the shitcoin influencers got together and just dumped recently? It's like plebs don't do that. Plebs wouldn't trade on their clout, right? Like, so that's what I like. There are plebs with 10,000 followers and they're not trying to shill anybody or do anything. So it just is like, it's the personification of stay humble, I think.
I think it's well said. Well said. Justine, what do you think?
I wasn't here for that, but in my opinion, and I've had some internal and external struggles about whether I'm a pleb or not. But for me, it's like you're the everyday man. You're just humbly stacking, talking shit on Twitter, and enjoying the community. Like, yeah, for me, it's kind of the opposite of an influencer who's doing things like we're just here cheering on Bitcoin and being a part of the community. Everyday man is the best way I could probably explain it.
Josh, what are you thinking, bro?
You said Josh?
Yeah, I said Josh.
First, I'm gonna start by contradicting Hodl, and I'm pretty sure it's plebeian. It's okay to say pleb.
It's plebeian.
I don't think you're right.
Google it.
It's like a Roman
commoner. Google it.
Plebeian. Yep.
So anyways,
the Italian is verifying
just
this.
like a normal person, you know, and it's come to mean like you're not rich and you're not influential. And like Hodl said, it's like you might have a lot of Bitcoin, but you can't really influence it. And I think that's sort of what it is. It's just
that's like part of the core ethos of Bitcoin, right? Like,
yeah, it's like an acknowledgement of like, we're just sort of here. And I do think that it kind of harkens back to the shitcoin days, but also at that time, you know, there was like the fork and all that shit was going on. And there were all these people trying to like influence what was happening in all directions. And I think it was just kind of like the antithesis of that scene.
Yeah.
That feels right. I also think it's pleb, by the way. Obviously, that's what I said. But Katya, what do you think? What do you think it means? You're on mute.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I think that taco plebs are like actually like a random occurrence of like dudes and chicks like who are just wholeheartedly interested in Bitcoin and like living with it, not like conforming to, I don't know, like any qualifications, what is wrong and what is right in this space, and like definitely not caring about the social clout, things like that. And yeah, like probably toxic people, but not like assholes to like nice, good people. That's what I think. Taco plebs.
I love that. Young Jaky, I'm be curious to see what you got to say now.
I mean, I like I agree with their definitions. I would add that I believe that plebs follow certain principles and do not break them, and these are kind of unwritten rules that everyone follows. Like don't trust, verify, stack sats, stay humble, Hodl, and every one of like these kind of unwritten principles that plebs promote and follow, and that also defines someone as a pleb for me. Apart from rejecting not using your clout if you have it to gain dumping shit coins and that stuff, but yeah, mostly following principles.
Nick, what do you think?
I've always just seen taco plebs at its core, just simply eating tacos or Mexican food, staying healthy and exercising, and just stacking sats. Just as simple as that.
We all have our own definition. CK, last man standing here.
Hold on. Can we take a vote? Can we take a vote on plebeian or plebeian?
I think that's a solid poll here.
I think it's plebeian.
It's
Wait, no, is it?
it's 100% plebeian, but because the community has decided to say it wrong, we're gonna go with pleb. Because everyone,
Well, it's like
everyone fucking
Hodl
says
or Hodl, right? Who says that right?
It's Hodl. People that say Hodl can fuck off. I blame Marty Bent.
So you're a purist.
Marty Bent is a habitual mispronouncer of words. This motherfucker be mispronouncing words like crazy on Tales from the Crypt, and I blame pleb on him. Okay, it's Marty's fault.
I mean, I gotta agree with Hodl. It comes from Italian, plebeo. Come on, guys.
Oh my god.
Come on.
All right.
Got an Italian.
We're getting our Italian lesson.
So
on.
a plebe.
Hold on. What is Josh gonna say?
Yo, what up?
You said it comes from Italian. First of all,
It comes from Latin.
It comes from Latin, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying are you saying it's pleb or are you saying it's plebe?
It's plebe.
It's plebe?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you spell it in Latin? You spell it P-L-E.
Dude, do you have to go and get the Latin dictionary? I can
go
search
get it.
Right
I
now.
know it's right behind you. Go get it.
Let me go get it.
Okay,
wait, let me mute it.
I can't wait to see this.
Go to Google. Google agrees with me. Okay.
So, I don't trust a computer always. Sometimes I trust the book, Hodl.
That's can I give a definition? Can I give a definition of a pleb?
All right, CK.
Yeah. Come on, you guys. This is my moment.
Let's go.
This is my moment. Okay. So, Bitcoin is fuck you money, and plebs are people that have adopted fuck you money and have fuck you attitudes. So it's pretty simple. You adopt Bitcoin, you take on Bitcoin's attitude.
I got the big chunky boy.
I like that definition. All right, let's see it. Look it up, big guy.
Yeah.
I was talking to Nick on the phone earlier, by the way. I'm surprised you know how to work a book, by the way, Jaky, because Nick was scared that he couldn't, we're on the phone. He doesn't take a lot of phone calls, and he was scared he was going to hang up with me if he went off of the phone call app. So this is good to see, Jaky.
Dude, I always said it.
One of the stories that for me typifies what plebe behavior is. Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah. Dude, it's literally written like in English. It comes from Latin so much. Pleb. I mean, you pronounce it in Latin pleb, but the pronunciation in English is plebe. Because you guys fuck it up. Okay, if I have to read it,
no.
Okay,
Josh killed it.
This is a plebe Like Inception.
No,
like who's
yeah.
fucking it up? Is it pleb or plebe?
So if I have to read it in Latin, it's plebs, okay? But if you have to pronounce it in English, since the English fuck up everything, you guys say plebe. I mean, guys, go on the fucking English dictionary, but it comes from pleb, plebis. And
we
it's
rejected the
opposite of
crown, and
Aristotle.
down south we call it the plebs.
Yeah, but it's the opposite of aristocrat.
Can we move on?
Yeah,
So listen, I feel vindicated that I'm technically right, but that we're also in line with our Latin origin words. So that feels good.
Right? Direct descendants of the Roman Empire. Let's go.
Here, Joe, do you want to get to the drinking rules?
Yeah, I forgot the drinking rules. This is drinks in quarantine. I forgot about the drinking rules. Lay them out there.
So the drinking rules tonight are Citadel, Chad, and Taco.
I thought it was pleb.
So
Pleb should be
you
one.
can't say those words. So if you say those words, you need a drink.
Taco.
We're
Chad.
not censoring anyone here, guys. Just we're just trying to get
I
people.
like that you have to clarify that. I remember why you have to clarify that, by the way.
If I say Takeo, am I in the clear?
Takeo. That is the correct pronunciation, by the way.
Why don't you just drink?
Dude, since when you become an Oxford professor, man?
All right, so
Wait, you
look,
didn't
I'm gonna
know?
keep this thing going. Okay, this is degenerate already. All right, so we're gonna get into some discussion topics here. One that we shared with everyone was the U.S. election and Bitcoin. Now that's pretty broad. I think you can take a lot of ways. So I guess I'm going to kick it off and say, how do I interpret it? And then kind of popcorn it around here. So what does the U.S. election, how does it affect Bitcoin? Does it have any effect on Bitcoin? Does Bitcoin care? Maybe not necessarily just price, but beyond that. So I guess the first person I'm going to throw it to is, let's see, CK, what do you think about it?
Oh, geez. I'm just waiting for a politician to just wholeheartedly embrace Bitcoin, because just like Michael Saylor is embracing Bitcoin, someone in the political side of things is going to embrace it. And I think it's going to change the game. So I don't know if it's going to be this election, but it'll happen eventually. In terms of what this election will do for Bitcoin, I think it's just turbulent times, uncertainty out there. So I think that that's negative for prices of most things.
Do you think that in the next two elections, or how about the next two halvings, we see political candidates run with Bitcoiner like on their ticket? That's one of their core issues.
I mean, I hope that they don't have to. Like, I'll protect Bitcoin, but maybe they will. I don't know. It just depends on how aggressive anti-Bitcoin rhetoric is.
Sure. I know, Katya, you probably don't necessarily care so much about the U.S. election, but there are, U.S. is big and they throw their weight around. But do you have any thoughts on this topic?
I actually do care a little bit because I'm quite annoyed what's happening in America, because it actually influences like the rest of the world. So but I didn't think about like in connection of Bitcoin and US elections, and I actually read up a little bit on it before today's call, and it's like what the experts say. They say that like the price will go down because like all the stocks will go down no matter what the result of the election will be. But I was just actually thinking, like, I don't really care the price will go down or whatever, but I think it would be nice if actually like this time, or maybe like in the next elections, we would see like the decoupling of Bitcoin from the stocks and gold, and I think that would be pretty interesting, especially like after the MicroStrategy news. I think maybe that could influence some other companies, and maybe they thought, okay, we're gonna do our risk management a little bit differently this time, so let's pull everything in Bitcoin. And I think that could pretty could disrupt the general prognosis, but I really don't know. Let's see what happens.
Katya, I don't know too much about European politics, so my apologies on this question. I'm going to throw it back at you, but do you think, is it even possible? Could the way that Michael Saylor, well, maybe I should save this for next section, but I'm going to just say it now. Did the way that MicroStrategy went all in on Bitcoin as their reserve treasury asset, is that even legal in Europe? I don't know. Like, is that something that a private company could do there?
It really depends on the country. Like in some countries, Bitcoin is treated as an asset, like not necessarily as a money, and of course not as a legal tender. But yeah, it's totally okay to have like holdings in Bitcoin, and of course you have to like company have to
Disclose
report,
that.
yeah, like report taxes and stuff like that. So I think that countries that actually care about taxation like really a lot, I mean like following it very precisely, they I think would go like forward to allowing Bitcoin, and but of course people will have to pay tax, like people.
Awesome. Thanks for that. All right, Mr. Josh.
I don't like to pay tax.
No, I think that's great feedback. I really do.
And just really quick, like if y'all have a burning desire to say something, like feel free to jump in. Like we can have a flowing conversation here. But Josh, go for it. The election.
I'm gonna sort of dodge this question because we hung out with friends on Saturday and we talked about politics for like 2 hours, and it's just like my nightmare because I feel like you're either talking with people you completely agree with about something, or you're arguing with people you completely disagree with, and it's like so divisive. I think one of the things that like I really dig about Bitcoin is, for me personally anyways, it kind of provides a space to disagree with people about, let me start over. Where we would disagree on a lot of things, we agree on Bitcoin. So it kind of creates this like conversation space. And I like Bitcoin for that reason. And I think whoever's elected is just they're not gonna bridge any divides, and I don't think they're gonna matter to Bitcoin. If anything, Bitcoin will matter to politics more than politics.
Hey Josh, have you taken that thought a little further? Do you know why that conversation space forms around Bitcoin? Because I think about this often.
Well, I do think about it. I have other things like this in my life. Like one thing I do is I play paintball, and like the dudes that I play paintball with are like, I drive out to Pennsylvania and they all roll out there in their like big ass trucks and campers and stuff like that. And we could not be more different, but for 4 or 5 days a year, we just have like the best fucking time and drink beer and shoot each other for 4 days en masse. And it's great.
You don't want to go to that.
League paintball sounds fun.
I think it's just like, despite what we believe, we come to the same conclusion, and it kind of bridges that gap between like what the two different people would believe. I don't know how much further you want to go than that. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, what I think is that, because we live in this postmodern hellscape where the money is fucking worthless. The only way for your particular group or sector, tribe to gain power and influence in the world is to get closer to the Fed window. So because we have this sort of peaceful monetary base that we're all in alignment on, I'm not really threatening violence against you or your sector, your tribe, and we're all in alignment on things, even if we don't agree. So we can be civil to each other. Whereas in the actual political landscape, that is effectively what people are doing, is they're threatening violence against the others in order, you're threatening time theft against the other group, right? Like if you're on the communist side of things, or if you're on the fascist side of things, both of those it's either corporate socialism or real socialism, right? Like that's the shitty false dichotomy that Americans are stuck in. And those are shit choices. So of course it's divisive, because both of you are saying terrible things when you're saying, I want to steal from my fellow citizens. Where in Bitcoin, we don't have that,
I heard someone say a long time ago, like,
I love that though. I love that.
I think that's real. I think that I heard someone say, when you buy Bitcoin, you're like opting out of fiat politics. And I think that kind of complements exactly what you're saying, Hodl. That you're essentially saying like, I'm not going to be subject to this anymore. But it's but as being a Bitcoiner, you have done your proof of work. That's something, Josh, that you were saying, you're kind of alluding to. Yeah, we all kind of have this common agreement, like this is the way, and everything else is basically a meritocracy, and we can let the best ideas survive. I think that's a pretty good thing. That's kind of exciting thing. Anyway,
I think
anyone
that
else?
it's one thing that, well, if you can find one thing with an individual that you agree on, like, and this is going to sound really weird and petty, but like, even if I agree with someone on absolutely nothing but Bitcoin, I respect them because they believe in Bitcoin like I do. So I feel like there's a common ground there. And when you have that common ground, the other stuff doesn't seem so emotional, because I think there's a lot of people in the States anyways that can't even talk to an individual who maybe sees the world differently, because it's such an emotional, like, I hate you concept, because they feel like they have no common ground whatsoever. So even people who maybe see the world differently than me that believe in Bitcoin, like, we have this common thread between us. And I think that that sort of removes a lot of the emotional politics that we see in this day and age, at least in conversation.
So I want to jump in here. So, I mean, I would say that my girlfriend is like, a tip. I don't know the right way to say it, but she's
watching
just
this
like
right now?
a normal woke,
I know, I was gonna say
just a
watch
normal
it.
woke millennial person. Right. So like, I mean, there's still a lot of like, the anger towards things, the political activism and time spent in that arena. And we were having a conversation, and like, I'm just saying middle down the road things that are like relatively conservative, like just relatively not, I don't want to say the word conservative, but just like normal, like middle down the line, not extreme in either direction. It probably would offend both parties. Right. But like, she takes it as if like I'm a Trump supporter or something like that, and like getting triggered by that. And I'm like, hey, like, the reason why you're so upset here is because like each of these groups like are lobbying to use the government to like move their agenda. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to lobby to use the government to force my agenda. I'm trying to do something else. And like, I understand like why what I'm saying might upset you, but like, that's just the reality. And like, you have to understand that both, like, the reason you're so emotional about this is because you are afraid of the other group using the government to move their agenda, and you want to do the same thing. So like, you got to kind of get on a level there and just like understand like politics is politics, and politics are divisive because it is about, you like being the thug. It is about like being in control of the thug that is around the corner. And like, if, you can only align in one direction, and you're trying to control that.
As Bitcoiners,
Bitcoin's a way out. Bitcoin's a way out.
CK, have you watched that documentary, The Social Dilemma, yet?
I haven't. I don't have time. I just don't have time to watch things, but I probably should.
It's good. Well, it's really good, and basically, just it's more about this stuff about how we're all living in our own filter bubble. So, like, your girlfriend isn't taking in any information from the other side. She's only seeing like all the woke stuff, and she's like, these people are evil and stupid. How can they be so evil and stupid? And the other side is only seeing all their propaganda. And, both sides are omitting the things that don't suit their narrative. And so that's part of the divisiveness, right? And that part of that goes into Bitcoin too. It's like, we've become the product because of these, basically Cantillon enabled monetization strategies that big tech is using, Facebook, Google, et cetera, right? And so because we don't pay for the services we use, we're the product. And, the tech giants, we might have to have a Nuremberg style trial for put Mark Zuckerberg and Tim Cook and the other guys up there and literally, execute them because they started a civil war in America. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
Thought right there.
But that could happen. It could easily happen.
Wait,
Bold.
I expected
Let's
that.
not get this video flagged here.
Italian.
I'm not calling for that. He's just saying it's possible.
I'm not calling for that. I'm saying that's a possibility that we're like, and we're
right, because it's a war on information.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's such an information war that's pinning people against each other, and on purpose. Like, the information we see is so filtered, and the information, it's like this narrative that we're being force fed, and the majority of it isn't even factual. And so, I think with CK's girlfriend, I could definitely relate with that. It's emotional.
There's a quote by Marshall McLuhan, sort of the medium is the message. Like, he was one of these, mass media thinkers. Like, he was the first one, basically. But the quote is, World War III is a nonstop guerrilla information war with no distinction between military and civilian participation. And when I say that quote to you, doesn't that just sound exactly like what the fuck we're living through right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
when was that quote said?
He said that in the 60s. McLuhan was a fucking genius.
Damn.
I'm feeling shook over here.
Yeah.
How should we
As
continue
far as the
this?
politics go, I can't imagine anybody currently in politics in this current lovely thing we have going on using Bitcoin as any sort of message or anything. But I think what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of the corporations and individuals who maybe a year ago didn't really think of Bitcoin as anything they'd be interested in, seeing what's happening in the world and going, shit, like I need somewhere to put my assets. And I know you have a section on this, so I won't touch on it too much, but I think we're seeing people think of Bitcoin in the same way a lot of us do, of like, this is my long-term holding. This is my, I'm watching the US dollar like just be shit on essentially. And I don't feel comfortable holding my savings in it for multiple reasons. And so like this happened with my neighbor, a 70-year-old rancher came over to ask me about Bitcoin because he's worried about his retirement fund sitting in the bank, and so these sorts of things I think is how politics are affecting Bitcoin in a way, but I don't really see it being like a political statement anytime soon. I think it'll be more of like the hidden elephant in the room that everybody starts to just adopt because there's no other choice, people will use it when they need it.
Can I ask an interlude question, Justine, really quick? How does that 70-year-old rancher know to come to you for Bitcoin? Do you have like a sign at the end of your driveway or something? Or
I don't. I think it was because my stepfather thinks I'm involved in some sort of black market, like, one world order, because I went to a Bitcoin conference. So I'm sure it's been mentioned somewhere along the way. And so then it was mentioned and he came to me and was like, hey, do you know anything about this? And I gave him some of my books and we talked for, like 2 hours. So yeah, definitely don't advertise it, but it's not
Josh,
shocking
they
that he
go
might.
to the diner on the weekend morning, like every morning at the diner, they're drinking the coffee, the old men, the old ranchers.
Yeah.
Bullshitting.
They do that, yes.
Talking about politics. Who they're going to vote for.
Like 10 cups of coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
To jump in regard to elections. So to give my opinion, I don't think that any, election or person can have an effect on Bitcoin. So, but as much as CK wants to see a political candidate embracing Bitcoin, I want to see one try to attack it just because I want them to fail miserably. And I mean, that would be the seal that would prove to, but I mean, the US. I want to see a US presidential candidate or even a president, we don't know, maybe in the coming years, go full against Bitcoin and fail miserably. And that would be the seal that proves to every normie that not even the strongest government on earth can do something. So maybe you should own some, right?
Hell yeah. I'm going to buy some right now on Cash App. I don't know. Let's go. I think that, go ahead, Katya.
Yeah, I think I would just add a little bit, like Justine was saying about like basically normies looking into Bitcoin, and I just worked in the agency quite a few years ago, and that agency basically did like a lot of research, and one of the researches in 2017, yes, yeah, somewhere in the end of 2017, it was like basically about money. And it's really interesting. I remember some data from there. It was like 30% of respondents, and they were like millennials, like the trendsetters. They were sure that Bitcoin, or of course any other cryptocurrency, will replace the fiat like super soon. And even at that time, there were like growing amount of people who were like worrying about the recession, retirement, and the future of kids. And I think this trend just only like grew over the years, and what we saw like in 2020, like so many like elder people basically bought Bitcoin, and I think that's pretty interesting. So I guess maybe that's what will happen, that we will not really see the politicians to support Bitcoin, but we will see like maybe more people just waking up because of the economic situation and what's happening with the dollar.
So just to jump in here, like I think that politicians will personally embrace Bitcoin and then they'll use it politically because they're going to be aligned with Bitcoin. But you're totally right. Like there's a story of the Bitcoin babushkas, which are like these Russian grandmas who have access to near cheap, near free electricity. And they're buying old cheap S9s from China and just plugging them in because why not? So, I mean, yeah, everyone's going to embrace this stuff. It's permissionless. That's the beautiful thing about it.
I think also, the old saying gradually then suddenly absolutely applies here. I think that, we're a decade in and it has been gradual. And, you're starting to see at the state and even the governor level, people talk about Bitcoin and embrace it. And I think that over this next epoch that we're currently in, it will only grow stronger and more people are going to have it in their portfolio and they're not going to shit on their own portfolio. Let's be honest. So eventually they will make legislation happen in their own best interest. So I was on a chat with Tino was on there and he was talking hardcore about, complying with the state and cooperating with the state and making legislation, but Bitcoin doesn't necessarily care. I kind of agree with him. We want legislators to be on our side, but Bitcoin will make legislators come to it, not the other way around. That's why I
mean, isn't it beautiful how Bitcoin incentivizes everyone to participate and everyone has something to gain from it instead of going against it? Like politicians, legislators, private companies, individuals, everyone. If they join, they gain something. If they go against it, they will most likely lose.
Yep, no doubt.
Hodl, you're muted.
Boomer.
Shit,
Boomer.
fuck, shit. We say that Bitcoin runs on energy, or it's powered by math. It's really powered by human greed. It incentivizes human greed like nobody's business. Human greed is insatiable.
The core of human interaction is money. Like human societies work on money, and the core desire of someone is to gain, so greed. And Bitcoin incentivizing everyone to participate, and by earning from it, basically wins over everyone. Like there is no one that is not bent by greed. Like no one.
And the Fed is doing a better job red pilling people than we'll ever do. I mean, for every fucking drunken late night conversation where you were talking to a buddy about proof of work, and you spent 2 hours just rambling your ass off. It's like today I was behind a guy who's a day laborer who works really fucking hard for his time and his energy. And I posted a pic, all the prices had inflated on the board where me and him were both getting lunch. And the woman goes, your total's $30. And he was like, what the fuck? Why is it so expensive? And she had to go through the totals for him. He just got red pilled like a motherfucker right there. He's out working all day for his money. He gets there. He sees literally that his money doesn't buy him the same lunch it did the last time he was at this restaurant. You don't need to red pill all your friends and shit. They're going to get red pilled by fucking life.
They're going to get red pilled by drive-through food, because let me tell you something, with 2 little girls, buddy, you go through and get some Happy Meals and some combos for mom and dad, buddy, you're talking $30 for the whole fam. That's crazy. We're talking McDonald's here. It's supposed to be cheap. Yeah. Anyway. All
Reason
right.
To home cook. Reason to home cook. Way cheaper, way better quality. Fuck McDonald's.
Yeah. Have some kids and see how you feel. All right. Next question. All right. We got a couple more. We're going kind of long here.
Hey man, Josh cooks for his family.
This is good. I'll cook for you guys too if you want to come over.
I want some.
Highly recommend.
Dude, I like Pleb paintball weekend. That sounds like a fun activity.
Not if you call it
beefsteak with that too, right?
Yo,
dweebs.
That's the correct pronunciation.
Why does
paintball and beefsteak after, right? Let's just confirm that that's a thing, because I want to do that.
Yo, CK, why does cuckmentality.com gets banned in the YouTube chat? That's not good. Everyone, cuckmentality.com.
It is a good website.
Yeah.
It redirects to my page, my Twitter. Yeah. Because I angered Matt Odell.
So I did not ban that, so that was just YouTube banning it. I've been, just so you know, I've been unbanning everything. There's no censorship here, people.
Okay. That's good.
That's not what we said before the call. All right,
So-
hold on. Let me keep this conversation going. Young Nick, do you have any input, or can we go to the next question here?
Let's just go to the next question. I want to dodge that one.
Okay, good for you. All right, so obviously MicroStrategy has been hot in the news. We've heard a lot of people talking about it. I would, be interested to see what the plebs have to say about it. I listened to Saylor on, I don't know, 4 pods now, and each time, the first half of it is his origin story, and it's kind of painful. But when it gets into the back end of the pods, I feel like there's a little bit more takeaway from it. The latest one I listened to was with our friend Guy Swan, and man, I think he really hit it out of the park when he started talking about his book, The Mobile Wave, and his perception and the way that he came into Bitcoin. He definitely has an advantage over other CEOs. But my question to the team here is, with Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, I guess a couple questions. How do you feel about, how long until someone else adopts Bitcoin as a treasury asset? That would be one. Katya asked that to you earlier. But I mean, like, for me personally, I feel like the Overton window, guys want to use that, but I've been in enterprise technology sales for almost 10 years. And one thing that we always say is no one ever gets fired for buying IBM or Cisco because they're industry standard. And now that Michael Saylor has bought Bitcoin as a treasury asset, he moved that Overton window towards something that, hey, now other people can start talking about being a legitimate thing. And I'm not saying that like you're not going to get fired if you buy Bitcoin if you're a treasury officer. But what I am saying is by him doing it, it makes the window open for the next company to do it. So what are the feelings and what do you think are the implications of them doing it? So that's kind of a very broad, open question, and maybe just comment on Michael Saylor in general. Young Nick, what do you think? You skipped the last one, hiding out on us.
I have a few views on this. Like, do you think that a lot of companies even know that they did this? Like CNBC, Fox News, all the mainstream normie stuff, they're not reporting on it. They're reporting on other stuff, like the riots and other, boring shit that's going on. Yeah, it's kind of like if you're not paying attention to what's going on in the Bitcoin space, you're falling behind, and you're going to face the consequences of that sooner or later. So I think MicroStrategy, the restaurant, and I think Canada that adopted Bitcoin, and there was one more company that adopted Bitcoin. They're obviously arguably probably the wealthiest out of all their competitors, and that's gonna take them a long way. And in the future,
I just want to jump in. The most bullish news of the week, you guys talked about it last night on Bitcoin Kindergarten.
Yeah.
But our friend Steve Barber with Ohm Energy, he hasn't released details, but I think it's so fucking awesome. Is they landed a contract with an American city. I don't know if it's American, may have been Canadian. But some municipality signed up to do Bitcoin mining with their resources. So that's
pretty awesome.
That's so radical. But yeah, super, super long. Josh, what do you think, dude? Justine.
Well, Nick was still talking. Go for it, Nick.
No, I was just going to say one last thing. I was just going to say there's a lot of Bitcoin being taken off the market, and I know I don't have enough sats. And it like your anxiety goes up. You're like, oh shit, like we're about to blow through the fucking roof.
Yeah, everyone talking positively about Saylor, but everyone forgot that motherfucker took away 38K Bitcoins, Now my stock is smaller.
Dude,
but he's a child.
Wait, sorry.
I was going to touch on like the oh, sorry, go ahead. I don't know who's trying to talk.
No, go ahead. Go.
Oh, I kept hearing somebody. I don't know. So I was going to touch on the whole people aren't watching. They pay people to watch that. They don't get their news off of CNBC. So I think that there are a lot of people going to be watching MicroStrategy and see what happens. Like they're really the testing ground right now. So I think there's going to be a lot of people with eyes on them. One thing that I'll say, and I haven't, dug into his history a lot. One thing that I really, really liked about his story was that he sort of came into Bitcoin the way that we all have. From my understanding, like talking to a lot of you guys, is that he kind of touched on it a few years ago and was like, not really, whatever, like not my thing. And then something piqued his interest, he got his second touch and just dove into it. Like I have this visual when he talks about like going into the room with his team and being like, no, if this is what we're going to do, we're learning about it. And like just laying out the books, right? And like falling down the rabbit hole and really absorbing all the information. I love that. I love that visual. And like I said earlier, I think he thinks of it in the same way as many of us do, of this, like, I need an asset that I'm holding my wealth in, that I feel confident in. And for him to see that in such a big way and put his company's, life on the line essentially is huge, in my opinion. There's somebody in the space who I like a lot who thinks that this is not huge at all. And I completely disagree. Absolutely. I think this is a huge, huge thing. I think it shows maybe what's coming. I think it will be slow. I think that people will be very much watching. And I don't really think it's going to be politicians. I think it's going to be businesses. It's going to be everyday men, plebs, and then corporations jumping in as well. So I don't know. I really like his story. I like the way he came into it. It cracks me up how Bitcoin Twitter has responded to him. We are insane. But I do really like the way that it wasn't like, oh, this is an asset I can jump into and it might go up and, I can dump it for like a quick profit. It was like, this is the solution I'm looking for some of the fears I have. And I'm going to dig into it and, turn over every rock I can. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wait. Jaky, go.
Okay. I think that his company buying Bitcoin will serve as the example for further in the future for companies to actually look at him as an example. And his company buying Bitcoin kind of legitimizes Bitcoin as a reserve asset. And I mean, when Bitcoin goes back to 20K, breaks all-time high, you can expect every company to look back at the call that he made. Like he bought it around like 11K. Like he basically
average price of 11.11.
Yeah, he basically doubles his money with Bitcoin at that point. And every company, you can bet at every company, as soon as they remember that he bought it, are gonna jump in as soon as possible. And that what's gonna happen after that is that supply is gonna dry up and no one is selling. Like at least the plebs, no plebs are like, so supply dries up, price goes up even more.
So just to add to that too, I've been pushing, or I don't know if I've been pushing, but we all should be pushing this narrative that this is the cheapest time to buy Bitcoin. And that might sound like a crazy idea, but if you adjust it for risk, this is truly the cheapest time to buy Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor brought this up, I believe, in the Stephan Livera podcast, but he said that he could not believe that he saw Bitcoin in 2017 at 10K, and then got to wait all the way until 2020 and got to buy it all back, all that huge sack for about 10K. And he was like, I got to learn so much in that time period. And like, he ended up getting Bitcoin, at pretty much like the same price as when he looked into it in 2017. So he got all that information, all that risk was kind of alleviated. And yet here's Bitcoin relatively attainable at 10K. So I thought that was really interesting. And I mean, this is an amazing opportunity. Like, people can buy whole Bitcoins. Like, I just don't think that people appreciate what whole Bitcoins truly mean if this asset becomes a global reserve asset. Like, that is more money than you can imagine. And you can buy a whole one still. It's just so incredibly cheap.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this whole thing has been the Chad Saylor, Dave Portnoy weekends memes that have come out of it. It gives me great happiness to see just Bitcoin Twitter shit all over Dave, because for a day, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I was like pumped, this is good for Bitcoin. And then what did he do? He had the weak baby hands and shit all over Bitcoin.
Portnoy is a fucking bitch. Saylor is
no doubt. Saylor's a fucking Chad and he's a bitch. But
I think one of the
felt really good.
One of the analogies that Saylor made was,
that this is like breaking the 4-minute mile for corporate CEOs, because he had the time and actually sat down and thought about this investment from first principles. Most CEOs do not have the time to sit down and think from first principles through a move like this. They act via convention. They think via convention, and they do what the herd is doing because there's safety in that. If you're doing the same thing everybody else is doing, you're unlikely to be fired, and there's higher CEO turnover than there's ever been. Most CEOs are quarterly thinkers because you're going to be fucking ousted real quick if you're not doing what you can for the stock price. Saylor doesn't have that same restriction, because if he fucks up, he could, the Bitcoin price could go down for 6 quarters in a row. He's not going to get ousted. He'll be fine. So because he controls the voting rights, right? So he's not going to oust himself. But it's
great observation, though. He is the ideal CEO.
When I think, like, for instance,
had controlling interest. I didn't know that. That was one of my questions for you guys.
Yeah, he does. He has like 70% of the voting rights, and he's a smart guy. He's been right on all the tech shifts, the big tech shifts of the last 25, 30 years. He's clearly comfortable. Does everybody know what first principles is? Because sometimes I say that and people don't quite know what it is.
Yeah. Why don't you explain it?
So basically, just first principles means like for a big proponent of this style of thinking is Elon Musk, right? Because Elon Musk wanted to start a rocket company, and before he started SpaceX, he went to Russia and tried to buy rockets. And it's a cool story. He had $60 million in a briefcase, and he tried to buy 2 rockets off the Russians, but they wanted like 90 million or whatever, and he didn't have it. So he went back and literally just from atomic elements started thinking from scratch, how much does it take to build a rocket? And so that's first principles thinking. You get rid of all the shit all the shit people have told you, and you go back to basics, and you basically red pill yourself, right? That's first principles. Like, for instance, maximalists slide into my DMs all the time and they tell me stuff. And we have maximalists fucking everywhere. And I'm not allowed to say how I know this information, but fuck it, I'll just say it. I know for a fact that Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, bought $5 million worth of Bitcoin, but he doesn't necessarily have the time to think through this via first principles because Congress is on his ass, right? And like, there's a lot that goes into running Apple. It's the world's most profitable company. So I think he's taking what's, a safety allocation. And I think Paul Tudor Jones is taking a safety allocation too. And I don't think either one of them have done the first principles thinking required to basically run that 4-minute mile and have the breakthrough that Saylor did, which is, oh shit, I'm short as fuck Bitcoin. And if this takes off, I'm fucked. And it is taking off.
Do you guys, first of all, who here knew what MicroStrategies was before this whole thing happened?
None of us knew.
Yeah. And then secondly,
Never heard of it.
This is something I don't know about, but how do companies, they have to disclose what they do with their treasury. How do we know that he did this? Like,
so Matt Walsh was the person who leaked it, and I have no idea how he actually stumbled upon their like quarterly earnings report. But essentially, their quarterly earnings report went out. Matt Walsh, who's a VC for Castle Island, looking at company quarterly earning like what most investors do, and just noticed, hey, Bitcoin's on there, and it just said that, hey, we bought Bitcoin. They didn't say how much, and then later on, it was announced, that they, allocated X amount. But yeah, I mean, they have to say it publicly, and all this stuff is regulated. So, I mean, they could be lying about it, but that would be a huge scandal if they
they gave their shareholders the option to either buy back their stock or to let them go ahead with the Bitcoin plan. So, like, if you were one of their large shareholders and you didn't want to go along with the Bitcoin plan, you got to buy out they bought you out at a premium to what your holdings were worth. But then the joke was on you because the fucking stock is up like 35% from that, right? And you're not going to get the Bitcoin appreciation. So you made a shitty move.
So I have a question, and I might be changing the topic too much. So host, if I'm in the wrong, just mute me and like tell me to fuck off.
I will use the button.
None of this apologeticness, Justine. Just go with it.
I'm sorry.
This is Pleb.
So
Takeover.
somebody brought up Portnoy. I think the actual, like, looking at the two of them and how they discovered Bitcoin and how they responded to it is actually very interesting, because I think there's people in this space that are very much short-term thinkers they're just looking for a profit and they jump into Bitcoin just to dump it, right? Like, and that's what they're playing with all these shit coins. And to me, that's what Portnoy's doing. Like, it's short-term thinking. Michael's on a whole different wavelength. And I think that's why we really sort of resonate, or he resonates with us. And I don't think that, like, I think it's fun to tease the dude about having weak hands. Like, absolutely. He seems like a total pussy. But it also shows like the different mentality that people have coming into this space. And what I think happens is as they're here longer and they start to see what's happening in the world and start to really discover it, they get it, like it clicks to them. But I just don't think that everybody's there yet. So it's very much like the short-term thinking versus long-term thinking, or high time preference, low time preference. So I find it really interesting to actually have the two of them get into the space relatively at the same time and just have complete polar opposite conclusions to like their first experimentation. So I don't know. I didn't know what your guys' thoughts on that were.
I mean, the first difference would be, because I believe they're both smart people, but I mean, Dave Portnoy got blue pilled by crypto Twitter and Link Marines and the twins and
Twins.
The twins.
Saylor got red pilled by Bitcoin Twitter, the plebs, and everything. So I mean, they're both smart. They like, one got fed wrong or harmful information. The other one got fed the best information and the truth. No.
So I would
Because he
disagree with
looked
that.
for it.
No, but I would disagree with that. Michael clearly understood what the hell was happening with Ethereum and DeFi, and it seems as though he'd spent time thinking about it, and he still concluded that Bitcoin is a store of value and these other things are not.
Yeah.
So I would say that
he said
Michael used first principle thinking, just like what Hodl said.
Well, he
Go,
used a market cap in his analysis of it. He said that they had such a first mover advantage. They had such the network effect that, it was unstoppable. If you heard his interviews, he compared it a couple of times to how it is so much first mover effect advantage as compared to like other startups who got a big start and then failed. I can't remember the ones I used exactly, but he used some social networks that.
Well, he compared to MySpace, and he said that MySpace never got to I think never got past $1 billion valuation.
Yeah, and we're talking $100 billion,
$200 billion, right? So
Right.
He's like, it doesn't even make sense to compare it to MySpace because like it's 200 times as valuable.
It's a fucking moot
Yeah,
point.
in fiat denominated terms, of course.
Yeah, CK, I agree with that, because obviously way of thinking helps you understand better something. First principles helps you understand a lot Bitcoin. But it's not only that. I believe that Dave Portnoy got in with the wrong intention, with the help of the wrong people, and he didn't have the right learning, method. Instead, Michael Saylor is a different person. He came in with a different objective and viewing the space in a different way.
We got to make an appeal to Davey, bro.
If you want
call your boy Marty. He's gonna set you straight. Okay.
They have a
Come on, dog.
relationship.
He's sorry about being part of the Bubbles gang or whatever the fuck. He's sorry. Call the man.
I mean,
I think it shows too that like in order to get Bitcoin, you have to put some effort in. And I think that goes with anything. Like, I know you guys sort of know this, like I'm into a lot of self-sustainable things. I've taught myself a lot of things over the course of my life, and it took effort. Like nobody handed it to me. Like it was difficult. I had to dig in. There was hands-on things happening. And Bitcoin to me is that. Like it takes some personal responsibility and some effort. And I think people like Michael will benefit greatly for doing that. Portnoy's, he's going to dive in when it hits all-time highs again, so he can, have some clout with his followers, and then he'll dump it again and he'll continue on his little shitcoin stock entertainment thing. But I just think it shows that it's a different mentality for sure.
I just want to say, when Dave Portnoy was getting in, I remember that video of him saying how pump and dump scams are like encouraged in crypto. And then like I compared that to Michael Saylor, who said he's not going to sell for any reason and he's going to hold it for the next 100 years. Like two complete different mindsets right there. And yeah, like Bitcoin Twitter is obviously going to hate the person who's going to try and pump and dump on his followers. And it was pretty nice to see him get completely wrecked on shitcoins.
Well, think about it too. If you're Saylor never has to sell because he can just sell stock, and the stock will be trading at a much higher multiple alongside Bitcoin. So it's like win-win. You get to take fiat for a new yacht. You still have all the fucking Bitcoin. You know.
Dude, they're playing a game those two guys for sure.
I also thought it was so fucking Chad when he said he was buying like how much Bitcoin a second? Like it was like wasn't it like tens of thousands Bitcoin a second or like 30K a second or something like that?
No, he said he was making a trade like every second. Yeah.
17,000.
Like, I think it was two Bitcoins a second. I think.
What was even better is the urgency in which he was trying to acquire Bitcoin. Like he was sweating bullets. He was like, I am very short Bitcoin and I can't believe that people are selling this stuff.
He was just like any of us. I mean, that's how I am when I'm going to make a big buy. I'm sitting there on the exchange, like waiting. I'm like, oh, is it going to go down like $5? All right, fuck yeah. Fucking execute.
Yo, okay, but we gotta make an appeal to Mike Serial because I mean he dried up 38K Bitcoin, so he's invested and he also took a lot of liquidity off. So as Hodl said, can we have the 100K party on his yacht? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Come on, man.
Hit him up.
We figure
seems to be diving into the culture.
Yeah,
we think his yacht can hold 100 plebs, all right? And we understand that only 50 plebs can come because we got to have a good ratio there. We understand that, Michael. So, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know, you gotta give back to the community because I mean, you dry up the supply, price is gonna go up, and we don't like that. At least I don't like that.
So
Jaky, spoken like a true pleb.
Yeah, Jaky.
He must have
what are you going to do, Jack? Jaky, what are you going to do about it?
Bro, you need to earn more money faster. Hurry up.
Are you going to bring pizza to this party, Jaky? All the way from Italy?
Yeah, I'm bringing pizza. I'll make sure, dude. I'll fucking hire a waiter to bring, I don't know, fucking a stove, a portable stove to keep it hot, you know? So it doesn't lose the flavor. And I mean, I cannot do anything to Saylor. That motherfucker could hire the entire United States Army, fucking siege my house and blow my ass up to the moon. But I mean, you know, give back to the community, man. Party on your yacht, you know.
Listen,
you're gonna be
hodling is giving back. It's the most charitable thing you can do. Okay, the most.
Hodling is charitable.
Michael, Jaky doesn't even want you to invite the community. He just wants you to invite him. Just
give me a
this
yacht,
guy
man.
out.
Give me
Take him to the moon,
yacht.
please.
Dude, 100K. What's a yacht? You know,
take Jaky
you
to
got
the
so
moon.
much money.
Right.
I mean, no, fuck a yacht. Give me some bitcoins, man. I don't need a yacht. That shit costs a lot to maintain, man. Give me some bitcoins. Just start getting my cold card.
What's going to happen is that the crew of guys who can operate like Michael from first principles, and you know that's a small cohort. They're going to move quick. Like you'll see a few Michael Saylor copycats pop up in the next 3 months, let's say, and then it's going to take about a year and change to get us, you know, the conventional thinkers. And so what might be awesome is like if you're thinking about it, you know, a year from now, that might be around when we're getting to our natural top. But then we might reach an artificial top when all the CEOs put corporate treasuries in. That would be amazing.
Why? I have a question. Why do you think he was so open about it? Like, in my opinion, most corporations wouldn't be.
Yeah.
They didn't really pump that much, though. Hodl, help me out here. Help me understand. Is it long term?
Well, first of all,
it's interesting to me.
He has to disclose because he's a public CEO.
Right. No, I get that.
Right? And then I think he just
he didn't just disclose. He jumped in.
Yeah, he's one of us. He loves it. He loves the engagement. Like you know, you can feel it. It's like the energy here is like nowhere else. Like everything else is fucking boring. What's he gonna go do? Like go to his like millionth fucking app? Like he said that on one of the pods. Like, don't show me another app. Like I don't care about your stupid app. You know, it's like the mobile thing for him is dead. So now he's like, what's the next exciting thing? And it's Bitcoin. You know, that's like we all hang out. We're all fucking addicted to Bitcoin Twitter for the same reason he is. You know.
Right.
He's like
Except
us,
the
but with
engagement level is
38K
not the
Bitcoin
same.
Yeah, exactly. He gets tons of engagement.
more. Yeah, but he's just like us, but with 38K Bitcoins more. So yeah.
He's just like us.
Just like us. One of us.
Mhm.
But no, it is truly impressive.
Just one of
Like,
the plebes. Just one of the
it shows how much of a boss
What is a plebe?
Chad and a plebe at the same time he is, because he is so open DMs. Like what CEO of a
Wait, open DMs?
yeah, he has open DMs.
Yo, let me
No,
ask
you
for
should have
the.
said that.
Yo, let me ask
But
for
like,
the
I'm
100K
just saying,
party.
like he's gotten on every podcast, like pretty much anyone
Yeah.
who's reached out to him, he's like at least assessed their message.
He's-
like,
Yeah,
like,
he's
what
been having
guy.
a lot of
like seriously.
He's been having a lot of private conversations with Bitcoiners too. Like Robert Breedlove told me he talked to him. Preston told me he talked to him behind the scenes. Like, so
Yeah.
he's part of he's one of us. He's part of the community.
Yo, should we DM him?
Jaky,
All right, so
dude, get
back
out
to
there.
the first
Get
question.
a job. Fuck
Is
the yacht. Get
Saylor
a
a
job,
plebe?
Jackie.
Let's
Yo.
get a job.
Yo, Michael said,
Yeah, look at
Pleb.
him. Open DMs right now as the CEO of MicroStrategy.
Yeah,
Hold on,
like
is he-
hire me, man.
Is
I
he-
Hey,
sent-
somebody send him the Plebecast and tell him we're talking about him right now.
You're asleep. That's what I was gonna do, and not tell you guys. Just let him pop in here.
all I'm saying is
Michael does come in here. I will send you the link. Everyone else, don't fucking flood my DMs. I'm not going to send you the link.
I had
Only Michael
some-
Saylor.
I had someone ask me if the Zoomers would take up a job offer, and I sent it to Jaky, and this dude didn't fucking take it. So I know he's
What?
not stacking as hard as he could.
Yo, you gotta understand
Yo.
something. Okay?
Yo,
I know you fucking dropped out of school, man, and then you got to a job, but I cannot drop out, you know?
you're
cannot-
16. You're still in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
State
That's the
mandate.
whole
Okay,
point.
bend the knee.
His mom would kick his ass.
Let's not dock the age here.
What?
His mom.
God,
So
That
then
shit was
brutal
so
for a
hilarious.
16-year-old man.
Oh,
Hey,
Yeah, shut the
CK,
fuck
CK, do you know
He
the
is the
story
mouth of the
about
sailor, Justine.
CK? Do you know the story about me smuggling PlayStations to Jaky during the quarantine?
No, hit me with the story. Hit the world with the story.
Jaky's mom took away his PlayStation, and he was complaining about it on Twitter. And I was like, "Hey, fuck your mom! I'm sending you a PlayStation to Italy, motherfucker." Yeah,
What's up, dude? The Bitcoin community.
that's what I'm saying. Plebes
Yeah.
have each other's backs, bro. You can't take away my boy Jaky's fucking PlayStation. Suck it, mom.
dude, fucking Satoshi, like 10 years ago, was like, what should I create? Oh yeah, a fucking internet magic money. So when this motherfucker fucking get his PlayStation taken away, some guy in fucking the US can send him money to buy a new one. That's the only reason he created Bitcoin. You know, fuck the old fucking philosophical, ideological shit. You know, changing the world, fixing the money. No, fuck that.
Using it for the plebs.
Yeah.
So, Jaky, please tell me that you hodled the Bitcoin that American Hodl sent you.
Seriously,
and
that's
then
what
you
I
used
wanna
dirty
know.
fiat to buy the
Yeah.
PlayStation. Please tell me you didn't sell that shit.
I mean,
He's
like-
got a PlayStation. He's got a PlayStation fucking controller in front of him.
okay. No, I not. So the conversation went like this. Okay. He wanted to buy it, but then he said, dude, how the fuck do I buy a PlayStation and send it to Italy? So he's like, I'm gonna send you Bitcoin. And I'm like, dude, if you send me Bitcoin, I'm gonna fucking hodl it. And he's like, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, okay, it's gonna hurt me. I lost a piece of myself when I sold those sats, but I had to. This motherfucker tortured me, okay? He forced me to sell sats. Can someone fucking chop his head off, execution style? Can we get some, laws and shit? Plebs laws?
Force you to sell sats.
Yeah, forcing someone to sell sats.
You had to
that's
get
a
your
capital
PlayStation.
offense.
You had to get it.
I mean, he got
at
you a
that point, I was
PlayStation.
forced.
You're so
Okay, this
grateful.
motherfucker just sent me, 4 million sats. I had to sell it. I had to sell them. Dude, we have to make a law that says that forcing someone to sell sats is a capital, fucking crime, and we need to chop his head off, something,
That's a
NAP
super
violation.
commie thing to say, bro.
Dude,
No,
Jaky's one of my favorite parts of Bitcoin Twitter, man. My wife would be like, "What are you doing right now?" I'm like, "I'm just giving this Italian high school kid tips on how to get girls. Like, it's important though. Can I have some space while I do this with my friend Jaky? What the fuck?"
My wife had a one-on-one with Jaky earlier on the Zoom call before this started. So I know about it.
I don't know why Joe says his wife is really nasty. It's not true, man. I mean,
She's sweet as could be, but she
Yeah,
will like rip your
exactly.
face off. She'll rip
Yeah.
it right off, man. If you,
I
That's
mean,
the perfect woman, really.
I mean, I think I don't know, when you're coming to Big Block Boom or something like.
You got to get to Texas, man. Come on.
Yeah,
up.
no, your guys gonna sign me. Like, I'm gonna make you.
We're
sign
gonna
up
be your
like
guardians.
Yeah, exactly. That shit.
Yeah.
Like that. You're gonna have.
I'm gonna
so
take
Oh,
Jaky
Lord.
to. I'm gonna take Jaky to shoot pigs out of the helicopter if he
Yeah.
comes to the
Oh
next
shit,
Bit
that's
Block
so
Zone.
cool. I saw those
Yeah,
videos,
full
man.
auto.
I see.
We
those
could do that
videos.
shit full auto out of the helicopter in Texas. Those pigs
Man.
need to die too. They told me they're invasive, so fuck them.
They-
Yo, can we
Basic.
put can we
They
put, can
are,
we put
actually.
communist flags on them before I shoot them?
That's right. Well, all communists are pigs, Jaky. We know that.
Okay, let's go with that.
No flags necessary.
It's crazy. Those pigs are supposed to be delicious too.
Yo, we're gonna get you
You
over.
get 'em
to-
young.
They're more
We,
lean.
we got to bring Josh.
Yeah, to
like
cook
someone
them.
needs to roast a whole hog, and it's Josh.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Do it.
Josh, when do you get flown around the world just to do beefsteaks? Like how long? How many years?
That's what I was hoping to be doing right now, man. It'll come.
We need
It'll come.
hyper-Bitcoinization faster.
Dude, do you guys know that when the March 12th liquidation happened on BitMEX, people were hitting up Josh for their beefsteak money? That's how much the community was hurting. They were like, yo, Josh, you know that $100 I gave you for beefsteak? You're going to need that back right now.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
got liquidated.
Can you confirm, Josh?
It might have happened once or twice. I'm good for it though.
Yeah, he sent me back my sats. I was like, oh, sweet, bro.
I used to be back,
So you're the one.
back UTXOs. That's what's so cool about coin selection.
Wait, Hodl, are you saying
Yeah.
that you're trading?
No.
That sounds very Hodl.
No. Josh told me somebody else.
He's saying he asked for his money back.
Yeah,
He
hit
asked
me
for his
up.
money
He was
back.
like, he hit me up and he was like, hey, bro, apparently everybody wants their money back for the beefsteak. And I was like, oh, I fucking forgot the beefsteak was happening, but sure, I'll take back 1,000,000 sats. Like, no big deal. I don't believe in trading because, you know, when I was in college, I was day trading biopharma stocks. And I was doing really well until I fucking wasn't. So I just don't go anywhere near it.
That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
It's like it works until it doesn't.
Have fun staying poor, you guys. You're not making money in DeFi. You know, if you take a day off from DeFi, you're behind on the latest scam.
Can we get a Jonny Litecoin impression live,
Yo.
please?
Hey, let's have a show without DeFi talk, please. It's been like
Oh,
3.
please, let's get the.
Yeah,
let's get
let's
the
move on.
impression.
Johnny Litecoin would be funny.
You fucking jerk offs. You don't know about DeFi? Listen, man, you maximalist pieces of shit, fucking jerk offs, dude. I work with payment processors. Okay. Come on, I'm swole. I'm fucking swole. Anyway, listen, you guys are a bunch of fucking jerk offs. You don't know anything. Come to Long Island, bro. Come here. Fucking let's go. Come on. That's what we call Johnny
Oh,
DeFi.
Hodl.
Johnny DeFi is
Thank
very
you.
funny.
Thank you.
Johnny DeFi is very funny.
All of the Litecoiners seem to have cognitive disabilities. Am I the only one who notices this?
If they're Litecoiners.
No, I mean they actually seem like they were, you know, they have head trauma, like
Oh yeah,
legitimately.
they stuck their fork into the socket of the house when they were small.
CK's sitting here trying to figure out how to change the topic. Like he's drinking his
actually
White Claw.
legitimately-
Like how do I do this?
I'm
How do
legit
I-
No,
worried. Every time
I like shitting on Litecoiners because they're the lowest of the battle or of the
That's fair.
bottom. You know, like
every time
you can't
talk
even
to
think of a good
Litecoiner-
narrative.
I know. Every time you talk to a Litecoiner, they want to fight you, and it's like, go ahead, punch your screen, dumbass. On the other end of a computer. They're always like, "You want to fight?" They're like, not really. I'm at a Wendy's while I'm texting you, but whatever.
Oh my god. This is good Degen talk here.
Okay, Joe, if you wanna change the subject,
Yeah, we
What's
have
our next topic, guys?
Dude, we got
It's-
like I don't know. Are we a
Yo,
hard
so
stop at,
who
topic?
here
I got
who
the
here is
next
coin
topic.
joining? Who here is coin joining?
Oh, I mean, I don't know any stats, so.
Oh, this.
Wait,
this
wait.
goes
So
into the
what's
next
Bitcoin?
question.
Wait, I got the next topic that I want everyone's take on. What's your take on the long-term threat? Is KYC a long-term threat to Bitcoin? I saw Guy Swan and Marty Bent post some tweets about it, and they were saying that long-term KYC is not a threat because once we have Bitcoin, being used for everyday payments, you're sending it to your friends and family, and it's being sent all around. They can't track it. No one's going to follow any of the bullshit, rules and regulations and taxes they have. So it's kind of like a short-term intermediary thing. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Can I jump in real quick? Because I think there are strong arguments on both sides, like people saying that KYC doesn't matter and KYC does matter. And I agree with both sides, but I'm going to give more of a, because I was like, engaging on Twitter about this some time ago. And I was there for like some hours talking, but at this point, there are strong arguments to both sides. And what I say is this: when there is the transition from right now to Bitcoin being accepted everywhere, there is going to be a period of time in which violence is possible, like state violence against Bitcoiner is possible. It's not certain, but it's possible. KYC, it's an added security measure. And I mean, I do it non-KYC. I mean, I don't own any Bitcoins, I don't own any sats, but if I would stack non-KYC because, you want that added security, even though it's not sure that it's going to help you. It's not necessary that you stack non-KYC, that another shield in front of you doesn't, it's a good idea.
Sold 4 million sets for a PlayStation. Fucking shame.
Yo, okay, you gotta shut the fuck up. I was forced.
Okay. Caddy,
One of the
what
problems-
do you think about this?
Oh, go ahead.
Katya.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know. I usually thought that KYC is actually like a threat. Maybe not to Bitcoin because I don't think that Bitcoin cares, but like to the people who actually have Bitcoin. I mean, for me personally, it's not a cool thing. Because I mean, it is used mainly like for taxation and stuff like that. But I think maybe I agree with Jaky that like with that hypothetical threat from a government for like Bitcoin users and hodlers, and that the KYC is like a security layer. I think I totally agree on that. And yeah, I mean, not sure what I can add else. I just don't like all the KYC stuff, and I think that the best way to earn Bitcoin is the best way to obtain Bitcoin is of course to earn it. But if like companies like MicroStrategy will pop up here and there, I think like these companies have to report actually where they spend their Bitcoin. So I'm not sure if there, for example, in a few years, will be any way to obtain Bitcoin without KYC stuff. Because even if you would like them to, I don't know, to take some profits from it and exchange it to fiat, you will just be not able probably to do that if you're not using something like local Bitcoins. So I think just KYC sucks, but I don't think that will get away.
So is there a risk that like we get to a world where only like, I guess anyone that is compliant will only take KYC Bitcoins? Is there a world where there's like non-KYC Bitcoins and KYC Bitcoins? Like, does anyone see that that's a threat?
I think that. Go ahead.
Katya, go for it.
I was just thinking this is a possibility because how do people realize their Bitcoins, for example, if they need like 2 exchanges, and like probably all of the exchanges today actually have access to chain analysis, so they basically can see like the origin of that money, and I mean, if something that they don't like, you just can't do any actions on that exchange and you could do coin joins. Like your transactions will be just flagged, and then you will go to another exchange, and it will be like the same story.
I mean, does anyone have an opposite opinion? Like, just who here is like Bitcoin can't be taken down?
I think long term, you know, like okay, let's say a government decides that any coins that touched this particular activity are now considered tainted coins, right? Well, then the government takes possession of them and then they magically become clean Bitcoins again because they're owned by the government. So I don't know if long term, like you're going to be able to like take Bitcoins out of commission. It might be kind of sweet if you did because it would make Bitcoin more deflationary. But like, I don't know. It's tricky. It's definitely like a very amorphous attack vector. And I think the thing that we have to realize is that Bitcoin is just so different than every other payment system in the world. KYC is the norm. That's just how it is. And because we don't have KYC, we're the outlier. So it's better to make the whole world more like Bitcoin than for Bitcoin to become like the rest of the world.
I mean, you want the government to impose the fact that non-KYC coins are tainted, but if a good majority of people own non-KYC coins, then the government would actually be incentivized to allow them to spend it because you don't, I mean, it depends. Depends if the government has some Bitcoins or if the government wants to acquire it. But I mean, I don't know. Most probably, in my opinion, will happen that the government will lose so much power that it cannot enforce those laws anymore. I mean, if I was a business and the government kept losing power, I would say, fuck off, I'm going to accept every Bitcoin I want because, I mean, who would refuse Bitcoin? So
what do you think of this? What if you go to pay at, you know, your local grocery store and they say, sorry, your coins are tainted. We don't know the origins of it, so we're not going to accept it. So, and you say, okay, well, fuck that. I'm just going to go take my money somewhere else to a company that does. And over time, those companies that don't accept those coins just die and, you know, or they run out of business. Like for me, the way I see it is if a company refuses to accept any Bitcoin for any reason, I'm just not going to take my business to them. And I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way.
Yeah.
Well, but what if only the non-compliant businesses could accept Bitcoin, right? What if it wasn't a choice, right? So it's either you can use this money as black market money or it's illegal.
Well, what do you mean it's our only choice? Because wouldn't new markets pop up? Like if
black market is better.
Yeah, that would be black market, right? So that would just be an illegal business accepting illegal Bitcoin.
Currently, though, you know, it's like 6 hops. So all you have to do is 6 hops, and it's a clean Bitcoin.
So it's about the heuristic, right?
Right.
And I just think it depends on like where we think the government, like, do we really see, especially if there's more legitimate companies kind of holding Bitcoin, that the government completely locks it down and makes it black market? Because I mean, in my opinion, KYC is important because it just protects you from what if, right? Like if some shit goes down and you know, have cleaned your coins and there's no trace to you, then it protects you from the what if situations. As far as if and what will happen, like we've seen them do it. We saw them do it with gold. So it's not completely unrealistic that they do it. It's just like, how can they enforce it on that scale? So I think what Nick was saying about you just take your business somewhere else. Yeah. And then the market finally kind of starts to work and pushes those people out. I don't know.
So here's what
I have a huge opinion on that.
Here's what I would say to that. And I feel like this is something that happens with like a comparison I usually make for people is like DNA testing. Like often when you get involved in privacy, yes, you want to protect your own privacy, but it's often not your own privacy that you're protecting. You know, like if I don't want to get a DNA test, but my brother gets one and my dad gets one, then I might as well have gotten a DNA test.
You got a DNA test.
Yeah,
so like when everybody's okay with getting KYC'd, we're fucking all the people that aren't getting KYC'd.
Yeah.
And, you know, like Matt Odell always says, like, you have to participate in privacy for everyone's sake, not just for your own. And that's how the benefit shakes down in the end. Like, if people aren't all trying to be private, then it's hard for to be private.
Can we take a more historical 30,000 foot view of this for a second? Is it possible that privacy is just a thing of the past? Because I mean, privacy was the default for the majority of humanity's history. And since we've been communicating over communications channels, we have lost it. I mean, it's just entirely lost. Like, there is no person who touches the internet who's a truly private person. And even if you don't touch the internet, they can just fucking put a satellite over your house.
Okay, yeah, true. You leave a fingerprint, basically. But what if you can have more personas?
Right. That's flooding the channel with disinformation seems to be the best strategy.
Yeah. So what if? Okay, let's say that obviously state IDs are a problem, but let's say the state. I'm doing a really hypothetical thing. Okay, let's say that the state dies, or this nation state dies, and there are different sovereignties. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know, little smaller states.
Sovereignties.
Sorry, dude. But basically, you got smaller states, maybe, you know, not the same type of IDs. I don't know. Let's talk even more in the future. Like, let's say you can change your face. Simply, you can just opt off. If they don't have like DNA of you, you're good. So just have different personas.
I think the problem is the constant cat and mouse game that modern privacy requires just feels by its very nature illicit to the majority of people.
Yeah, true. It's too much of a hassle for them to care.
Exactly. Because that's why it used to be just the default. You were some farmer in the middle of nowhere and nobody gave a fuck, you know?
I mean...
Yeah, now you have to fight surveillance. So whereas privacy used to be the default, now it's surveillance is the default. But that's why encryption needs to be the default, right? Encryption enables privacy on the internet to some degree.
Okay, but our Bitcoin solves problem by incentivizing people not to act the way that problems are made. So how do we incentivize everyone to agree that encryption and privacy is the right thing? Like, Bitcoin does that.
You're right. You're right. Because like now, if you have lots of Bitcoin, you're incentivized to actually be private about it because you could get whacked over the head.
Yeah, let's create a secret code that basically hunts everyone that doxes themselves. So everyone will be incentivized.
Jaky, as much as it's important to encourage everyone, I think it's important to like discourage big companies because they KYC us and then they fuck us by compromising information. You know, like we need to take away their right to KYC us as much as we need to encourage people to avoid getting KYC.
The only reason they have the right to KYC us is because they have the support of the government.
Well, they don't want to KYC it. It's a burden for them.
Yeah, it's the government that imposes it.
And they outsource it often. Like I know for a fact BlockFi outsources it. There's a lot of other like smaller, not Coinbase institutions that do a lot of outsourcing, and they outsource compliance. It's a burden. They outsource it. Those outsource agencies suck. It's like a fact that they suck. That's always the choke point.
I mean, if the government, if the government did not impose it, companies I think wouldn't do it because it's an extra step for them. It drives off customer. Like
they don't care.
Yeah, I would.
You think BitMEX wants KYC?
Yeah, heck no.
I still, it's like the chief argument. Like, here's how I feel about Bitcoin privacy. It's like I am fully in support of everybody who's working on Bitcoin privacy. But if you're asking me how I feel about it, I kind of don't care because at the end,
obviously,
and that's. And it's from I know, and it's from a privileged position, which is what Matt would say about me. I always have a little Matt Odell being like, "Shut the fuck up, Hodl," on my shoulder. But it's from a privileged position, obviously, because I feel, what's the point of privacy, Bitcoin privacy? The point is to make sure that when number goes up, you'll be able to spend your coins. You'll be able to use them in the way that you see fit. And my solution to that is like the idea that the state is going to go away is not accurate. It's not going to happen. There will be a state for as long as we're alive, at least.
Privatization.
Right. And so basically the number go up side of me is like, why don't we just lobby the state to just rewrite the laws in our favor?
The state is bad unless I can buy it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think
I feel like I agree
important, but it's at what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that I agree with Hodl because I don't know. It definitely is a position of privilege as Americans. You know, we have the Bill of Rights, yada, yada. But it is something that people don't have around the world. And, you know, I'm pretty outspoken about some of the other amendments that matter a lot to me. And Bitcoin is one of those things that's why not a pseudonym. I think the pseudonyms are very important and I support those, but also I think that we need frontliners that like, hey, state, guess what? I am a Bitcoiner and, you know, fuck you. And that's the way that I feel about things. And I think it's important that we have a balance of both. I think that we have pseudonyms that challenge, you know, thoughts and opinions, and that we also have, you know, the other side of the faction as well. So
yeah,
I'm with you, Hodl. I mean,
number go up and privacy are two sides of the same coin, right? It's just like, what are you particularly more paranoid about? Like
I'm not trying to tell everyone how much fucking Bitcoin I have. I'm not trying to like put my XPub out there, but I am trying to say like, I am a Bitcoiner and we will be a force to be reckoned with. That's how I feel. XPub? I don't know. I just don't even know what it is, but I'm just telling you, like, you know, that's something.
There's a guy named Peter knows.
I just want to throw this out there. I think that KYC exchange volume versus BISC volume really shows you how much people actually give a shit about privacy in terms of what is the market saying, because the tools are there. If you want to use BISC, it is relatively easy. There are guides out there. A lot of Bitcoiners have multiple computers. It would be very easy to have open orders on BISC, yet there is no volume there. So that right there literally shows that there is very, very little demand for non-KYC Bitcoin. On the contrary, Samurai Wallet seems to have found a way to, you know, package it. Samurai and Wasabi both with CoinJoin seem to have a way to package it with a UX that makes people feel comfortable about doxing themselves to buy the Bitcoin and then mixing it to clean the Bitcoin. But I don't think that's enough. Like, you really should get non-KYC Bitcoin. You should be earning Bitcoin. Like, that is the proper way to get Bitcoin. You should be mining Bitcoin. Those are the only ways to truly get Bitcoin without doxing yourself. So, like, there's no demand for that yet. And I don't know how that is going to change.
I mean, I think that the problem with, Samurai and Wasabi are pretty straightforward. I mean, they got a good job. They did a good job.
BISC is straightforward.
Yeah.
Have you tried it? But, it's pretty fucking easy.
The
like,
problem
you download it, you set up a wallet, and then boom, you're done.
Yeah, I know it's straightforward. The UX is good too. But the problem with that is that people are not probably used to doing peer-to-peer transactions like that. Like, you know,
there's a shitload of Bitcoiners that run their own node that are buying Bitcoin on exchanges and are not buying it on BISC.
Yeah, the problem is that when you're buying it, I don't know if I can get the point across, but when you're buying it on an exchange, you're interacting with I don't know how to say it, an entity that you trust, okay? That is sure that when you send the money, you receive something back. And even if BISC does the same, people maybe don't have the same feeling with BISC. You know, they see it as different, even though it's pretty similar. They have the wrong idea in their mind. That's what at least stopped me, or, you know, what I thought at the start with BISC. You know, you're not making a transaction towards an entity that you know for sure you're gonna get something back, and maybe it's different because, I mean, it's decentralized. I don't know.
You guys want to see my only non-KYC Bitcoin?
Yo, show the private key, dude.
That's badass.
I have to peel it, bro. No.
Yeah, peel it.
So
I'm not peeling.
my
You don't
question
have
is
the
for
balls
someone
to
who
do
has
it.
someone who has a Casacious coin, like why wouldn't you peel it and put it in better privacy or in better security?
What do you mean? These are worth fucking 1.5 unpeeled, and they're gonna be worth 2 Bitcoins later.
I bet you don't have the balls to peel it right
But
now.
like I just
Definitely
like
don't.
I don't know. In my
We'll
mind,
see.
like, but the risk of the creators of Casacious coin like compromising the keys is way too high.
Yeah, but that was like it was 8 years ago and shit, man. Like, there's none of the Casaciouses have been hacked.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I wouldn't
Just
trust
saying.
it.
back. We should bring it
Just
back.
saying.
Peel it. Take it
Casaciouses?
off. And put
They're
it back
pretty
in.
dope. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty sweet, man. Look at the hologram.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
I
a good
like
product.
it. I mean, it's like an old school open dime.
Yeah, it's cool.
Except not cryptographically insured.
Yeah, you have to trust the guys who made it, but like
100%
none of them
trust.
have been hacked, so
I mean, I wouldn't trust
seems
it.
legit.
If I would have it, I'd peel it in a fucking second and put it in cold storage.
Yeah.
Nah,
and then
How much I respect
dude,
Bitcoin.
You guys anybody who peels them is just fucking up in the value of this bad boy. You know what I mean?
Dude,
No,
you're just gonna
all
take
you're
a
doing
piece
is
of-
that is leverage on Bitcoin. That is leverage. You are.
Yeah,
it's like you're putting
it is.
it into a
It is.
shitcoin exchange that has Lindy. But truly,
It's-
what it is you're like,
Hodl,
it's
do not
Bitcoin.
listen to
To
him.
me, I'm gonna leverage
This
it
is
1.5.
trash. Trash.
You
it.
could
This-
leverage that way more on
Dude,
Bitcoin.
no,
not
no,
open
no,
that.
No,
It'd
no.
be easier.
This is a family heirloom, sir. Okay, this will be my
His
granddaughter.
grandchildren.
You're just setting yourself
disagree.
up to be like to get that wallet drained when the creator goes like, oh yeah, this motherfucker haven't moved his Bitcoin. Let me
Dude,
just
this
steal it
guy
back."
is thinking the long game, and then
Yeah.
boom, Bitcoin is at like 25 million a pop, and then he just drains
Well,
everyone's wallet.
You know there are
Even if
you
he
know
gets
there are
1%, doesn't matter.
dude. You know there are 10,000 BTC Casacious out there, and there's still like 3 of them unpeeled. Who are the ballsy motherfuckers who are sitting on $10 million fucking unpeeled? No, it's more than that. It's $100 million unpeeled.
Dude, there's some
Who are those guys?
legendary Casacious coins, and
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I would not have that much trust. Maybe they just have so much Bitcoin it doesn't matter.
Or maybe they're the founders.
I don't even keep this thing locked. The maids could steal it.
Dude, let's talk
Where's
about
Hodl's house?
dude. Maids are such a vulnerability. Like, dude,
Sneaky
you don't
maids,
want
dude.
people. You don't
Sneaky
want
maids.
Yeah, you don't want people coming in your house, seeing where you hide shit and like that.
My maid wears a
Okay.
shirt that says attack vector on it. It's crazy.
That's right. That's right.
That's what you gotta have kill switches in your maids.
I've got a
No.
team
I
of
think
6
privacy
maids.
is important. I'm changing
yeah.
the topic from maids. Privacy is important. We need to have it available to anybody who needs it or wants to use it or wants to experiment in it, because I don't trust our government worth a shit. They shut down people's bank account for not, giving in to their demands. And I just think that I don't want them to even know how much Bitcoin I have. And, it's just a protective factor. So personally, I don't coin join. I'm interested in it, but I am terrified of all things. So I'm working towards it. It's on my list, but I do
Wait,
think
so
it's throwing that in there.
Are
You
you
gotta
saying
coin
I,
join with a
Give
small
how-
amount.
so
You gotta
I
coin
shouldn't have
join
told
with a small
I
everybody
amount.
know.
that I have
No, the
6.15
best way is
Bitcoin?
coin join all the stack at once.
I just
Coin
want to
join the whole
say,
stack.
Yeah, at once.
I don't care. I used to not care about privacy that much. I used to not give a shit, but I've been starting to care about it a lot more. Even today, I was watching the Oslo Freedom Forum with the Human Rights Foundation, their live stream, and they were talking. Well, they had a speaker come on, and I forgot his name, but he was talking about how he got kicked out of Cuba because he was writing some stuff about saving the sea turtles that were getting killed in the ocean through all the fish netting and stuff. And he was just an environmentalist, and the Cuban government kicked him out of the university. They banned him from the country and injected him with HIV. That is
What
fucked.
the fuck?
And
Communism, everybody.
yeah, it's this dictatorship
God damn it.
and it just makes me think if if the government really wants to come, like, try and fuck up our life, like, they'll do it. Like, they won't have a problem do it. They don't give a shit
Citadel.
about us. So, like,
They do it every day.
and
Yeah, they
that's
do. We
that's
just-
what makes me like care about privacy even more, and like start to
No,
like
yeah.
kick my ass into getting my privacy game together.
No individual can withstand an attack from a government. You just
Yeah.
can't.
Privacy is defensive technology. Like it's the same as Bitcoin. And like that's what I was telling my girlfriend, like to bring it full circle, is like the difference between people that are trying to have alternative solutions versus people that are trying to use politics to apply their agenda is like the willingness to use force. Like that's ultimately what the government does, is you are forced to, and you see people getting arrested for going to church. Like, is that really worth it? Like you were looking at the numbers from the CDC. It's like up until age group 65 to beyond, like, do we get to 5% chance of dying from corona? So you're arresting people from church for that purpose? Like, I don't know. Like, it just seems like more like a power play than anything. And truly, like, once you get to like, there's a moral high ground in order to do whatever we want, like, then we get to some really scary stuff where people start doing Nazi stuff. Like, that's what the Nazis were. There's a moral high ground to do whatever we wanted. Like, that's where we got to that state. And like, I don't see Australia, I don't see United States, I don't see Canada that far away from that. Like, truly,
Yeah.
I don't see the
No,
UK.
me neither.
Like, we're talking about Western English-speaking countries that are the peak humanity right now. Like, they're not that freaking far away from like Nazi-style shit.
America's the last
Like-
bastion of freedom. We need to protect it. at all
America's the
costs.
fucking Alamo, dude. It's where we make our last stand. I've been disgusted with what's been going on in America all year, all summer, and I keep thinking, where would I go if I was to flee? And I just think, nowhere. There's nowhere. It's just here, and
Dude.
this is where we make our last stand. And if we fucking lose, the stakes are high. You know.
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
coming to America. You can bet on
Texas.
This is like a quick throwback too. I used to be a poker player because like I feel like some people are like that shit's not gonna happen in America. But like there's this day called Black Friday where like all these poker players just woke up one morning and
Yep.
everything was on lockdown. If you didn't have money in your bank account, it was gone. All the websites were shut down. All the side avenues to get to those websites were shut down. Your money was it was gone. Like you could wake up, like if you have money on Cash App or wherever, like we could wake up tomorrow, like the way the government attacks Bitcoin is they sever the ties between our banks and our on-ramps. And like we don't know that's gonna happen. Like we wake up one day and it happened. And whatever's sitting in those exchanges is gone. And like whatever's in our wallets that we haven't, shifted around or whatever, like they know we have, and probably even they'll come to us and be like, what'd you do with that Bitcoin that you got through this KYC avenue? And, if you want to be like, I bought hamburgers with it, then they'd be like, cool, you owe us 50% tax on it then.
Yeah, because like I was discussing KYC on Twitter and I'm like, dude, what happens if the government comes knocking at your door? And this guy, I don't remember who, posts a picture of his gun. I'm like, oh, cool. I mean, like, Second Amendment, I mean, hell yeah. But, I mean, you're going to withstand the whole police force? Like, if the government comes full frontal attack at your house with a SWAT team, you're going to fucking,
you're done.
I don't know, clap every fucking SWAT.
You're basically just making the decision to kill yourself at that point.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot do anything.
So in my opinion, privacy is like the idea of trying to prevent that from happening, to give yourself some sort of defensive mechanism so to not put you in that situation that they are at your door. Because when they're at your door, it's over. And as far as like you've lost. What Josh was talking about the poker players. Like, to me, that's so important to like not put your freaking Bitcoin in a place you don't hold the keys. Because let's say that, we're all doing really well and we're all holding our own Bitcoin and, in very secure ways, and the government shuts down on it. It then is a peer-to-peer still payment structure, right? Like I can still send it to you. We can send it back and forth, and we don't have to depend on any third party. But if we don't hold those keys and we're depending on third parties, that's a really real possibility in my opinion. And in my opinion, that's why privacy is important, is to not even give the government like a target on your back. That's sort of my thought process. And
I think we're
then I love
past
the
the
old job.
I think we're past the Rubicon with this idea that there's going to be some sort of a Black Friday in Bitcoin. I mean, you know, Paul Tudor Jones owns Bitcoin. Reid Hoffman owns Bitcoin. Peter Thiel owns Bitcoin. People that have the president's ear own Bitcoin. You know,
agree.
Michael
We've seen
Saylor,
it on wallets.
guys like
We've
that.
seen it on small wallets, Dropbit wallet. You know, one
Yeah,
of the
but-
founders got arrested for coin join something. I forget what it was. And the Dropbit
It was a
wallet
big coin
went
join.
But
down.
A lot
they
of
were
volume.
running a
It was a
they were
very
running a-
successful coin join operation.
they were running a
Was it?
centralized mixing service, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that it?
Right,
Yeah, not
right.
coin join. Yeah,
But
it was a
anybody-
very successful mixing service.
Right.
Okay. And so I just know that everybody who had the Dropbit wallet, like if they had stuff sitting on it, it got frozen. I mean, and luckily it was a very big amount, so nobody really
Well, there's
used
a-
it in that regard.
It was the lightning portion of the wallet.
It's hard for
Yeah.
it's going to be hard for regulators to say that coin joins are money laundering, because the way the technology works, they're not strictly speaking money laundering. They could get creative and make them money laundering though.
Yeah, if they
Like that can still happen.
Okay.
what I fear is that in the future, when Bitcoin is adopted, people will most likely, I don't know, I hope it doesn't happen, but it could, that people want to deposit their Bitcoins onto custodial services so that they do not have the responsibility of holding the keys themselves. And that's why I think that making it as simple as possible is one of the most important things, because if all the normies end up using custodial services, what happens then is fractional reserve again, and the government, if there is an entity powerful enough like a government that can impose their will onto all those custodial services, they can just shut it down, take those Bitcoin, Black Friday, that thing that Josh talked about.
I think
So,
for
hey,
me, it's
Hodl,
just yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you're gonna go. I just have a few things to say. I don't think fractional reserve is an issue in Bitcoin because ultimately no one's gonna bail them out, so they're gonna go out of business, right?
True.
So it's not actually an issue for Bitcoin, but a government like taking over, that's for sure. Hey, it looks like Katya is about to go to bed. Hey, I know it's super late. Why don't you give your last word and say goodbye to the audience, and then you can peace out. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks guys. It's just really super late, like 2:30 a.m. and I just feel like I'm dropping off to the bed. Yeah, and it was nice talking to you, and have a nice continuation of this content.
Yeah,
for
thank
coming.
you for
Thanks,
Thank you.
Katya.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Say hi to the space cat for us.
A true pleb. Thanks,
He
Katya.
is a head pleb, if there is such a thing.
We have no.
Well, I mean,
leaders, dude.
Katya is a true pleb, not Space Cat, but whatever.
Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. The shit was I gonna say?
No big deal.
But yes, like another thing regarding full frontal attack by government, the only way that can be avoided if the force of the government is met by a greater force. And the only way that happens is with the Second Amendment, if all the individuals that own guns go against it. And I mean, that's a good reason to actually have citadels, Like, I don't think that all the people that own guns are going to rise to protect one Bitcoiner. Okay. So if
I
they
think what we need for Citadel theory to work, is like some sort of a even stricter physical defensive technology, like nanotech or something. Like right now, I don't know that we have
Missiles.
but you have a centralized location, right? Like it's
Yeah.
pretty easy to drop the mother of all bombs on you.
Yeah, that's why you have economic citadels and security citadels. You have like a economic citadel is where basically you hide to not pay taxes, and a security citadel is where you hide to completely hide yourself, like your physical form.
I think the path and future of Bitcoin is not. It is not a tool to evade government, in my opinion. It may be a tool to evade some governments, despotic governments, dictatorships, but I think it's a tool to co-opt governments. I think the underlying incentives and the greed mechanisms behind Bitcoin will lead to the state's adoption of Bitcoin.
I mean, yeah, because the best way to solve a problem is without actually violence coming in as the solution.
Right.
And the only way is incentives, and Bitcoin does that.
Yeah, and if you look at it, we're moving up the stack, right? I mean, we're already taking out corporate treasuries. What's next, right? We're going to be on the Fed balance sheet at some point. When taxes in Bitcoin, like all these things are,
fuck taxes though.
We're moving to but as long as you live on a landmass, you're going to pay taxes. It's just how it is.
I'm gonna buy my own land, make my own state. Fuck those cunts.
It all sounds, I just hope that we can, I don't know, man. It's like a crazy optimistic Hail Mary, but maybe Bitcoin can prevent global war, because it seems kind of like we're headed for global war.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone is incentivized to cooperate peacefully, instead of, because, in my opinion, at the foundation of human interaction is greed. The foundation of society. But the most basic instinct of men are greed and violence, and most likely violence is used to acquire greed. But greed is superior to violence to everyone, because obviously you would like to obtain something without having to fight for it, or at least not having to fight for it violently. So if you can obtain that thing you want with peaceful cooperation instead of violence, you would go for it. Everyone would go for that.
But it also gives, China and America are tilting at each other, and the world cannot have two nuclear powers go to war. We just can't. It's the end of the world, right? So Bitcoin gives America and China an option to go to all-out economic Cold War with each other without ever having to fire shots.
Dude, I have a solution for that. What if, because obviously there are a shit ton of nukes. So what if, because what happens is, if the nation state dies slowly, like the Soviet Union, I think they sold a lot of their guns and nukes. I think they sold nukes on black market to Iran. No, they didn't.
Did they?
Yeah.
Can I just throw out there that the whole point of the sovereign individual is talking about the logic of violence, and that's exactly what Jaky's talking about. Is when it's cheaper to make gains through transactions, aka Bitcoin commerce, then why would you kill people? And also nukes are a big factor into the stalemate, but Bitcoin's the next step.
China has been at economic and informational war with America for a long time, for 20 years, and we are now just starting to do economic war, tariffs and the like, with China, and informational war in return. And Bitcoin allows whichever power adopts it first to accelerate the economic war. It is the nuke of the economic Cold War.
Yeah, dude. I mean, talking to my hypothetical possibility, like, what if the nation state dies, all their guns and shit get sold, and maybe even their nuke arsenal? Wouldn't you want to have multiple groups of people that have anti-ICBM shit, to shut down those nukes? Plebs army, plebs, owning anti-ICBM missiles, I don't know, someone fucking nukes
I think
us.
you just really want to own missiles, man.
Your Citadel better have that shit. If your Citadel does not have that shit, it's a bad Citadel. Let's be real.
Saylor, buy some nukes, send it to me, please.
Safekeeping with Jack.
So I think also one of the big reasons that the state will adopt Bitcoin is to maintain the status quo, to maintain their power structure, because otherwise they have no reason to do it. But
there's an inflection point where they have enough buying power to buy a shitload.
Right, exactly. They cross. Bitcoin's on the way up, and the state is on the way down, and they cross at that X some point, right? And that's the moment when you see them make the move.
I've actually thought about this before, because I feel like there is some around World War II, like it was like our monetary growth was contingent on how much gold we had, and the way that we would get more gold is through war.
And I feel like one thing that could, I don't know how it would play out in a war situation, but if you're entering a country, they could straight up just say, we're going to fucking destroy our Bitcoin. We're going to destroy these wallets. You can come, if you're coming for a Bitcoin, we're going to destroy them. Now, like,
Yeah, Tea Party.
it becomes like a deflationary thing, but does it have, there's no way it would have the same effect as just getting their Bitcoin.
Well, you can't get, like, you're not going to be able to invade America and take American citizens' Bitcoin. Same with mainland China. You're not going to be able to invade and force people at gunpoint to give you their Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's an insurgency, right? It's a global insurgency.
That's the other way the conversation goes. It's like in that, if you go down that road, then it's like Bitcoin could be like a tool for peace, because like you can't wage war hoping to get more Bitcoin.
Well, it's like, don't you think nukes are a tool for peace? Right?
Yeah. Totally assured destruction. That's the only way you.
Yeah.
You like if you, let's say, if you risk to attack someone and obtain something from them is lower than the thing you're obtaining, you go for it. But if you're risking the same amount you're gaining from that interaction, you're not gonna go for it. If everyone has a gun, I risk my own life trying to rob Hodl. If he didn't have a gun, I could overpower him. That's why everyone should have nukes. Every state should have nukes. I should have nukes. Because then you cannot attack me because we both die. I mean, that's the only point of it.
It's a defense mechanism. Yeah, the security measure.
Yeah, that's why everyone that says that guns are, an offensive tool are idiots.
It's part of what Plan B's been talking about with the Phase 5 stuff, is that, we are going to need military thinking and planning around Bitcoin, at some point, because mining is like, Venezuela just made a national pool for their mining. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So they have a national mining pool in Venice because they're socialists, right?
That's going to be a thing, though.
It is.
USA
it's already
pool, KYC. It's going to be a thing.
It is. Maybe the coins from China will be tainted. Who knows?
It's always about a group that.
I'll take any coins. That's all I just want. Everyone. Okay? I'm non-fungible is bullshit. I will take any coin.
That's another way to wage Bitcoin war, is like, where in the world did they come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it is pretty obvious.
It's going to be hard, though.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
what? Well, it's like, where are the machines at? Where's the pool at? Like, that's the thing about proof of work, is it just takes plugging into electricity and having the hardware. Like, that's the difference about proof of stake. Is like proof of stake is like you have to buy the coins, and then there's this whole new level.
Fort Knox, but it runs miners. It's a mining facility.
But
dude, there's gonna be so many of them.
Fucking amazing.
Every Citadel.
Right?
That's gonna be every Citadel.
But if you're mining, you have to divulge your IP address to the mining pool.
And then you show up on hotspot as a hotspot on satellite. You guys gotta really work on your plan here.
I mean,
well, wouldn't all the mining centers just form around power plants anyway? Because you're generating the power. Why shuffle the power somewhere else, right? So power plants are
absolute match made in heaven.
Yeah, power plants are already targets for governments who want to shut them down. Like, we melted down a Iranian nuclear facility with the Stuxnet virus back in 2011 or 12.
The most important part about that was playing the music, right?
Yeah, the AC/DC.
Yeah,
it was playing Thunderstruck.
Is a great outro for this whole podcast.
Imagine the fucking savages that are melting down your fucking nuclear facility, and they're playing, and all of a sudden you hear thunder.
Wait, was that the NSA?
Like, what the fuck? Am I being irradiated right now?
Was that the NSA?
Yeah, the NSA did that.
Okay, only thing I like them for.
Look, hey, I hate to be the one to cut this off. I think this could go all night, obviously, because I've done that many times and many of these Zoom chats. But we have to close this thing up. So I think final thoughts. If anyone wants to do that, we can do that. Otherwise, we can shut this thing down. So, young Jaky, any final thoughts?
Everyone gets a
Stacks-
last word.
Okay,
Yeah.
stack stats. If you don't, someone else will for you. If you join, you win. If you don't, you lose. You stay a loser.
Pass it to somebody.
Yo, Hodl, say something.
Dear Maddie Odell, whatever I said about privacy, I didn't mean it. I'm really pro privacy. Please stop giving me so much shit about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Pass it.
Fucking away slice, Josh.
I can't do this. I want for you guys to say goodbye first. I feel like it's like saying goodbye to your high school girlfriend.
All right, I'll go. It's funny. Matt Odell is living rent free in American Hodl's head, and yeah, this is the first time I've actually done a outro for Drinks in Quarantine. I'm usually just the host, so remember to stay humble and to DCA in, and if you have to sell, make sure to fucking DCA out. Okay, so don't sell it all at once. You know, you don't need a trade. Just when it's frothy, DCA. When it's dumping, DCA. Just always DCA.
I like it.
Popcorn Nick.
I just want to thank everyone for coming out. We had a ton of viewers on YouTube tonight. I think we had like 40 or close to 50 consistently throughout the whole night. So that's pretty dope that a ton of people from Twitter came out to watch. Yeah, it's just stack sats. Popcorn Justine.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was going to say stack sats because the corporations are coming for them. So you're running out of time. So stack sats, not humbly, just fucking stack them, man. And hodl.
Sell your house. Buy sats.
Oh, and I'm supposed to popcorn. There's nobody left. Oh, wait.
Josh.
No, Josh hasn't gone. Josh, it's
I
time,
love
man.
you more. No, I love you more. I love you guys more. I got nothing now. This was great. It was really good to just chill out and talk about Bitcoin for a while. I love you all. This is awesome. We should do it again.
Yeah.
Should.
I'm so glad this happened. Everyone, thanks for joining us remotely. Thanks all of you for joining this Zoom. And yeah, until next time, we'll do another Pleb takeover. And it'll be some maybe some new faces, maybe familiar faces. So awesome. Thanks, everyone.